The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song, he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
Raider Nation, we have two massive updates regarding Jackson Powers Johnson, our second round pick out of Oregon. So earlier in training camp, there were reports that he suffered a concussion, which is clearly not a good sign as it held him out of the majority of training camp. However, Antonio Pierce in his recent press conference just stated that he was activated off the PUP list, and some beat reporters, in fact, saw him back at practice at Allegiant Stadium just a few days back, and he was wearing that red non-contact jersey, which is unfortunate still because he's not getting those live reps in those O-line, D-line drills, which he really needs to hone in his technique as an offensive lineman. However, I would say the bigger news coming out of training camp regarding JPJ is that Antonio Pierce said that he's not going to start the season at left guard in his recent press conference, which to me is a massive concern because slated at left guard right now is Cody Whitehair, who me and Rashawn, when we signed the guy, had high hopes for. But when you watch the tape and dive into the tape of that preseason game against the Vikings, he was not effective. And, I'll see if I can find some clips and insert them in. But there were several plays, especially in the run game, where he was getting beat to his spot and he was losing the leverage he was supposed to gain in some of those run plays. And so pass protection, I would say there wasn't a big enough sample size for him to sort of accurately judge him in pass protection. But, he's not the best pass protector. Last year in Chicago, I believe he had a sub 50 grade PFF wise, which is very bad for an offensive lineman. And so with JPJ, he provides us that long-term solution at left guard. We've consistently signed these stopgap guards, like we signed Greg Van Roten last year, and especially the right tackle spot. We've cycled through these stopgap players, and especially when you have a system quarterback like Aiden O'Connell, or a bridge quarterback like Gardner Minshew, everything on the offense has to be perfect for them to be successful. You can't have holes on the offensive line. You can't have holes in the receiving core. Everything has to be perfect around them if you want to have success on the offensive side. So Aiden O'Connell, the reports they've leaned Gardner Minshew throughout camp, but this week in particular, we've seen Aiden O'Connell perform well in training camp and in practice. So let's say hypothetically Aiden O'Connell is the starter. He needs to be protected at all times. Otherwise, he's not going to be effective, right? Like he cannot move out of the pocket. He can step up in the pocket if there's space, but rolling outside the pocket, he really struggles with. And so if there's interior pressure, I don't have faith in him rolling outside the pocket and making plays off script. That's just not his game. But on the other side, if he is kept clean in that pocket, he's a really effective quarterback. I would say with a clean pocket, he's a top 10 quarterback. He's got a top 10 arm in terms of the accuracy, in terms of the ball placement, and in terms of the arm strength. He's a top 10 guy if he's protected, right? And so for that reason, we really need the interior of our offensive line to be shored up. And when you look at Andre James, he's a good center. He's a top 10 center in the NFL. Dylan Parham, when you move him to right guard, at left guard, he tends to struggle a little bit. But at right guard, I would say he's a Pro Bowl right guard. Colton Miller, he's been injured right now, but I've been told that if it was a game week, he'd be suiting up. So there's not really much to worry about with Colton Miller. And at right tackle, there's been an interesting development with there's a competition between DJ Glaze and Thayer Munford. And so we're going to get the best out of that right tackle spot. I think we got two really good right tackles that are battling it out. And so really the real question mark is JPJ at this point because I believe he was first round talent. I think he would have been a top 20 pick had he not had injury concerns coming out of college. And I believe the real reason he fell to us in the second round is because of those injuries he suffered in college. And that was a red flag to a lot of teams, and that's the reason we were able to select him. And so hopefully, if he just gets back to being healthy, he can really show us who he is. I would argue he was the best center coming out. At the Senior Bowl, he really impressed. At Oregon, he was mauling guys, and especially playing in the Pac-12. There's a lot of good defenders in the Pac-12, and he put a lot of good stuff on tape. He had a rating above 90 on PFF, which is hard to do. And so his college tape speaks volumes to the player he is. It's just if he stays healthy, that's the real question, right? So hopefully he comes back. I'm hoping he can, jump in around week 2, week 3. That's ideal. I'm not expecting that considering he has to get ingratiated within this offense. So I'm expecting his return to the starting lineup to be, I would guess by week 5, week 6. But hopefully the sooner the better he comes back. And we're gonna see Raider Nation. We got another preseason game coming up against the Dallas Cowboys. We're gonna have you covered on this channel. All things Raiders, all things preseason, all things 53-man roster. We got it all on this channel. And yeah, until next time, thank you, Raider Nation. Keep liking the videos, sharing with your friends, commenting down below, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel. We're trying to hit that 1,000 mark, get monetization. And yeah, thanks, Raider Nation. We'll catch you later.